Warning: the following video contains strong language which may be offensive to some viewers or inappropriate for children. The content within this video is intended for mature audiences only.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Taboo, the show for people who don't follow the mainstream narrative. We're all about discussing the topics others won't and presenting you with those alternatives that make you think for yourself. I'm your host, Zan, of course, and with me is, why is nothing showing up?
I didn't know. I was noticing.
Oh, there we go. And with me tonight is, of course, Alex. Alex, say hello again.
Hello.
And we have two guests this evening. We have Michelle. Michelle, say hi. Or not. Oh, she muted herself. Good job. Unmute yourself and then say hi. She'll get the hang of it eventually. And also we got Louise here in studio with us this week. Oh, she just left. I don't know what Michelle's issue is, but she's not with us anymore. Let's have a moment of silence. Okay, that's enough.
Oh my God.
So what are we doing tonight? How's everything going over there?
I'm trying to get dinner set up, so we're good.
Dinner set up. Okay, and what are we talking about tonight? We are going to do the Law of One, sessions 5 and 6. And why session 5 and 6? Well, other than the why not factor, I think it's mainly because session 5 is fairly short. Like really short. You'll see when we get there. And then session 6 is much longer, and we'll kind of go from there. What are you two doing over there? Oh, wow, look, Alex turned mostly invisible.
Oh, did I really?
Yeah.
That's trippy. That's funny.
That's a very see-through shirt.
Oh, because you're wearing green.
I am wearing.
Derp.
That's hilarious.
That's
You know
actually
what?
funny.
She is a disembodied head.
Get over here.
Okay.
And there's Louise. Hi, Louise.
Hi.
We'll disappear together. Oh,
All right. So, like I said,
I really like that effect.
we're going to be doing session 5 and 6 tonight of the Law of One. So, without further ado, yo, Ra, you there?
I am Ra. I greet you in the love and the light of the infinite creator. I communicate now.
Perfect. Thanks, dude. Appreciate you hanging out with
I
us
am
again.
Ra. Although your learn slash
Hey. Don't get ahead of me. Jeez.
light of the infinite creator. I communicate now.
All right. Now shut up for a minute while I'm talking. God, rude. Anyway, I'm just looking to see. Nope. Your friend Michelle disappeared completely.
Oh, wow.
She's not even logged into
Oh, she.
the server anymore. So, yeah. All right. So, where did we leave off last session? Anyone remember? I think he had just said goodbye, right? So, this is the next day. This is, I believe...
He was asking about 2 sessions a day. I remember that.
Yeah, that was at the very end. We don't care about that. So, we'll just move forward from here. So, what's he going to start off with? One thing I did want to mention is I noticed when I was doing this stuff, and I mentioned it to you, I think, Alex, the other day, that I am of a mind that some of this stuff was given by a different entity other than Ra. And here's why. Every time Ra replies, it starts out with, I am Ra. And then he goes on to explain whatever it is. And you'll notice this in certain questions that are asked, it just starts off into an answer. And I don't believe those answers are consistent with the stuff that Ra says. So I'm kind of fascinated by that. I just wanted to mention that as well. So the first thing he asks is, last time we communicated, we were speaking of learning and speaking of learning of healing. It is my impression that from what you gave to us in the earlier sessions, that it is necessary to first purify the self by certain disciplines and exercises. Then, in order to heal a patient, it is necessary, by example and possibly certain exercises, to create a mental configuration in the patient that allows him or her to heal him or herself. Am I correct? To which Ra says,
I am Ra. Although your learn/understanding distortion is essentially correct, your choice of vibratory sound complex is not entirely as accurate as this language allows. It is not by example that the healer does the working. The working exists in and of itself. The healer is only the catalyst, much as this instrument has the catalysis necessary to provide the channel for our words, yet by example or exercise of any kind can take no thought for this working. The healing working is congruent in that it is a form of channeling some distortion of the intelligent infinity.
did you guys catch all that?
Pretty much.
Yeah, there's something on the top of my head. It really hurts. Ow. Yep. So basically he's saying yes and no. He's saying, pardon me. With what the guy asked, he's basically saying, so you were basically saying that we need to get in a good headspace in order to heal, and then the person being healed needs to be in a proper headspace in order to be a healer or be healed. And he's like, well, kinda. He's basically saying it's not by that example that the healer does the working. The healer, let's say I'm the healer, I don't exactly heal you. You heal you. And you heal you by becoming part of the infinite intelligence, or the, however you want to view that, whatever terms you want to call it. Intelligent infinity, et cetera, et cetera. The healer is only the catalyst, meaning that the healer is the one that sparks or ignites the proverbial fire underneath the person to have them begin their healing process. Oh, yeah, I do like that too. The healer is only the catalyst, much as the instrument has a catalyst necessary to provide the channel for our words. Yet, by example or exercise of any kind, can take no thought for this working. It's basically saying, you cannot take credit for their healing, or my healing, or your healing. I mean, you can take credit for your own healing, but that's it. The healing working is congruent in that it is a form of channeling some distortion of the intelligent infinity. Basically, you're channeling the healing from the infinite. Okay? To which this guy says, we have decided to accept, if offered, of course, the honor duty of learning, teaching the healing process. I would ask, as the first step, which we should accomplish in becoming more effective healers. All right. My bet is him saying, yeah, dream on, pal. What do you think? Is that what Ra's going to say? No, of course not, because Ra is infinitely more kind and patient than I am. Here he is.
I am Ra. We shall begin with the first of the 3 teachings/learnings. We begin with the mental learn/teachings necessary for contact with intelligent infinity. The prerequisite of mental work is the ability to retain silence of self at a steady state when required by the self. The mind must be open like a door. The key is silence. Within the door lies an hierarchical construction you may liken unto geography and in some ways geometry, for the hierarchy is quite regular, bearing interrelationships. To begin to master the concept of mental discipline, it is necessary to examine the self. The polarity of your dimension must be internalized. Where you find patience within your mind, you must consciously find the corresponding impatience, and vice versa. Each thought that a being has in its turn an antithesis. The disciplines of the mind involve, first of all, identifying both those things of which you approve and those things of which you disapprove within yourself, and then balancing each and every positive and negative charge with its equal. The mind contains all things. Therefore, you must discover this completeness within yourself. The second mental discipline is acceptance of the completeness within your consciousness. It is not for a being of polarity in the physical consciousness to pick and choose among attributes, thus building the roles that cause blockages and confusions in the already distorted mind complex. Each acceptance smooths part of the many distortions that the faculty you call judgment engenders. The third discipline of the mind is a repetition of the first, but with the gaze outward towards the fellow entities that it meets. In each entity there exists completeness. Thus, the ability to understand each balance is necessary. When you view patience, you are responsible for mirroring in your mental understanding, patience/impatience. When you view impatience, it is necessary for your mental configuration of understanding to be impatience/patience. We use this as a simple example. Most configurations of mind have many facets, an understanding of either self-polarities, or what you would call other self-polarities, can and must be understood as subtle work.
Okay. Questions, comments, cute remarks?
I got from that balance.
Yep. So, well, okay, yes, balance is a huge thing. And he mentions that in all three of those, in case you didn't catch it all. He's always talking about balancing or giving the positive the negative and the negative the positive of equal value. This is something like we were talking the other day about balance, Louise.
Yeah.
And because everybody seems to think that there's this stigma, right? You can't have good without evil. You can't have bad without good. You can't have et cetera, et cetera. And that's not the case, because good and evil are perceptional things, right?
Yep.
Right and wrong is a perceptional thing. Good and bad. God and Satan, all perceptional things. So, yes. And he's talking about, pardon me, I'm going to go back to this first line here, or not first line, first paragraph. We begin with the mental learn/teachings necessary for contact with the intelligent infinity. And the key to that is silence. That's not meaning that you have to sit in complete and total silence. That means quieting the mind. Have you ever sat for a while and thought, or tried not to think, and then suddenly a thought comes to your head?
Frequently.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's what he's talking about, getting that internal monologue down to a minimum so you can literally hear what the universe is saying. And I like that. The mind must be opened like a door. And the key to open that door is silence. And again, silence means the calmness, the stillness, the peaceful feeling. Okay? Doesn't necessarily mean no talking, no music, no nothing. It means you have to get to that point where you can quiet your mind. Then to begin the master concept of mental discipline, it's necessary to examine the self. And here's where he starts talking about balance. The disciplines of the mind involve, first of all, identifying both the things of which you approve and those of which you disapprove within yourself. And then balancing each and every positive and negative charge with its equal. I can't think of anything I don't like about myself, so. But let's say you don't like your hair. Or lack of hair. So you take that negative and you give a positive spin on it. I don't like my hair, but, I really like my eyes. Right? The second mental discipline is acceptance of the completeness within your consciousness, accepting who you are. You might be fat, you might be skinny, you might be lazy, you might be a workaholic. Doesn't matter, you have to accept yourself.
Me, the rest of you can fuck off.
Yeah. Well, not necessarily that, but you're getting there, yeah. And then it is not for the being of polarity, which we are good and bad polarity, right? And the physical consciousness to pick and choose amongst the attributes, thus building the roles that cause blockages, confusions in the already distorted mind complex. It's basically saying, since you guys don't know how to fucking think, stop picking and choosing the things that you like about yourself and in others and just accept them all. Okay? The third discipline of the mind is a repetition of the first, but with the gaze outwards towards the fellow entities that it meets. So much like finding the good and bad, positive, negative, however you want to look at that, you have to do that not only for yourself, but in other people and give them that alternate attribute that gives them the whole positiveness. Does that make sense?
It does, but that's so much easier said than done.
Well, I mean, you can look at a person and see what their faults are and see what their good attributes are and acknowledge.
With some people, yes.
You can in all people, and that's the whole point, right? Most configurations of the mind have many facets, and an understanding of either self-polarities or what you would call other self-polarities, yourself or others, can and must be understood, period. Does that make sense? Comments, questions, cute remarks?
Again, easier said than done. But yes, makes sense.
Where'd my thingy go? Oh, there it is. Okay. Sorry, I moved things to a different monitor so I could read it easier. All right. To which our masterful person says,
The next step is the acceptance of the other self-polarities, which mirrors the second step. These are the first 4 steps of learning mental discipline. The 5th step involves observing the geographical and geometrical relationships and ratios of the mind, the other mind, the mass mind, and the infinite mind. The second area of learn/teaching is the study/understanding of the body complexes. It is necessary to know your body well. This is a matter of using the mind to examine how the feelings, the biases, what you would call the emotions, affect various portions of the body complex. It shall be necessary to both understand the bodily polarities and to accept them, repeating in a chemical/physical manifestation the work you have done upon the mind bethinking the consciousness. The body is a creature of the mind's creation. It has its biases. The biological bias must be first completely understood and then the opposite bias allowed to find full expression and understanding. Again, the process of acceptance of the body as a balanced, as well as polarized, individual may then be accomplished. It is then the task to extend this understanding to the bodies of the other selves whom you will meet. The simplest example of this is the understanding that each biological male is female, each biological female is male. This is a simple example. However, in almost every case wherein you are attempting the understanding of the body of self or other self, you will again find that the most subtle discernment is necessary in order to fully grasp the polarity complexes involved. At this time we would suggest closing the description until the next time of work so that we may devote time to the third area commensurate with its importance. We can answer a query if it is a short one before we leave this instrument.
okay. And again, this is why I said this one was really, it's short, but it's long, right? So the second area of the learn teaching is the study and understanding of the body complexes, how the body works, and to understand that your mind and body are very much linked, right? This goes back, there was a thing, I want to say in the 80s, maybe early 90s, of think yourself thin, right? If you see that image of yourself being thin, muscular, fat, whatever, you become thin, muscular, fat, or whatever. And there's a very big truth to that. Your body will do what your mind tells it, because your mind is the superseding authority over your body.
Mind over matter.
Yep.
Exactly. The body has problems, got sore knees, bad neck, whatever. So you need to understand and accept those problems as well and find their alternate positives or negatives. Does that all make sense?
Yes.
And this is pretty much the end of session 5. And he goes on to say, is the instrument comfortable? Is there any other thing that would increase the instrument's comfort? To which Ross says,
I am Ra. I leave this instrument in the love and light of the one infinite Creator. Go forth rejoicing in the power and the peace of the one Creator. Adonai. I am Ra.
Yep, he is Ra. So he says a little bit more, but I didn't feel that anybody cares about the candle being rotated clockwise approximately 10 degrees each section, blah, 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 blah. Right? So then we go to the next day, the 24th of January, 1981. I'm going to close this because I don't need it anymore. Now, again, this is a very long one. He's still Ra. And we get into more interesting things.
I am Ra. I greet you in the love and the light of the infinite Creator. I communicate now.
Now, in this particular session, this is where it really starts to show where it seems like there's two different entities communicating with this person. And you'll hear it in just a few minutes. So the first thing he says is, we would like to communicate or continue the material form yesterday. Or material from yesterday. God, I can't read. We had to cease before, and then apparently he was chewing on something because nobody could hear what he said. To which Ra says,
I am Ra. This is well with us. We proceed now with the third area of teach/learning concerning the development of the energy powers of healing. The third area is the spiritual complex, which embodies the fields of force and consciousness which are the least distorted of your mind/body/spirit complex. The exploration and balancing of the spirit complex is indeed the longest and most subtle part of your learn/teaching. We have considered the mind as a tree. The mind controls the body. With the mind single-pointed, balanced, and aware, the body comfortable in whatever biases and distortions make it appropriately balanced for that instrument, the instrument is then ready to proceed with the great work. That is the work of wind and fire. The spiritual body energy field is a pathway, or channel. When body and mind are receptive and open, then the spirit can become a functioning shuttle or communicator from the entity's individual energy of will upwards, and from the streamings of the creative fire and wind downwards. The healing ability, like all other, what this instrument would call paranormal abilities, is affected by the opening of a pathway or shuttle into intelligent infinity. There are many upon your plane who have a random hole or gateway in their spirit energy field, sometimes created by the ingestion of chemicals such as, what this instrument would call LSD, who are able, randomly and without control, to tap into energy sources. They may or may not be entities who wish to serve. The purpose of carefully and consciously opening this channel is to serve in a more dependable way, in a more commonplace or usual way, as seen by the distortion complex of the healer. To others there may appear to be miracles. To the one who has carefully opened the door to intelligent infinity, this is ordinary, this is commonplace, this is as it should be. The life experience becomes somewhat transformed and the great work goes on. At this time we feel these exercises suffice for your beginning. We will, at a future time, when you feel you have accomplished that which is set before you, begin to guide you into a more precise understanding of the functions and uses of this gateway in the experience of healing.
okay, so here is the third component, the spirit, right? Most people, they work on their mind, they work on their body, but they don't believe in the spirit. They don't understand the spirit, therefore it's nothing to them, right? The spiritual body energy field is a pathway or channel. When the body and mind are receptive and open, then the spirit can become a functioning shuttle or communicator with the entity's individual energy of will upwards, and from the streamings of the collective fire and wind downwards. So, have you ever seen like what a magnetic field looks like? You know, there's like the planet Earth here. You have a North Pole, a South Pole, and the energy travels like this, right? It's very similar for a spiritual field or the spiritual energy or what some call the aura. Okay. He goes on to talk a little bit more about using chemicals such as what they call LSD, DMT, however you want to look at that. Somebody just chatted in.
That's the bot.
Oh, okay. And how that can help assist in opening up that gateway into intelligent infinity. Questions, comments, anything? No?
Not at the moment.
Okay. So I've been asked if it's possible for Tom Flattery, whoever that is, to attend one of these communication sessions tomorrow. Are you familiar with the entity Tom Flattery? To which they say,
I am Ra. This mind/body/spirit complex, sound vibration of Tom Flaherty is acceptable. We caution you to carefully instruct this entity in the frame of mind and various appurtenances which it must understand before it is conducted into the circle.
it's basically like, yeah, he can come, but make sure that bitch keeps his mind about him. I'm not quite sure what you mean.
I was referring to the symbolic objects which trigger this instrument's distortions towards love/light. The placement and loving acceptance of them by all present is important in the nurturing of this instrument. Therefore, the appurtenances involved must be described and their presence explained in your own words of teach/learning, for you have the proper attitude for the required results.
So basically saying all that stuff that we talked about in the first couple of sessions on how to get everything tuned directly, this dude needs to understand that this is here for a reason, not just some weird ceremony type thing.
And don't fuck it up.
And yeah, and don't like belittle it or whatever, because ultimately it means more to the instrument which which Ra is communicating through. However, if you look at this is one that begins without the I am Ra.
Yes.
So that made me kind of like, as I was doing this. So we're going to go on to the next one. He'll understand me. We'll be very careful to totally inform Tom before he attends. Thank you very much. It seems to me that it might be an appropriate time to include a little bit more historical background of yourself. Pardon me, possibly information having to do with where you came from prior to the involvement with planet Earth, if this is possible. Hiccups. Sorry. To which Ra says, fuck you.
I am Ra. I am, with the social memory complex of which I am a part, one of those who voyaged outward from another planet within your own solar system, as this entity would call it. The planetary influence was that you call Venus. We are a race old in your measures. When we were at the sixth dimension, our physical beings were what you would call golden. We were tall and somewhat delicate. Our physical body complex covering, which you call the integument, had a golden luster. In this form we decided to come among your peoples. Your peoples at that time were much unlike us in physical appearance, as you might call it. We, thus, did not mix well with the population and were obviously other than they. Thus, our visit was relatively short, for we found ourselves in the hypocritical position of being acclaimed as other than your other selves. This was the time during which we built the structures in which you show interest.
Catch all that? It's basically saying they came from what we call Venus. They were tall, slender, golden in color. Their skin was golden. And they didn't look like everybody else, so everybody else was like, what the fuck? They couldn't walk amongst us without issue, is essentially what he's saying.
They're aliens.
How did you journey from Venus to this planet?
We use thought.
Okay, then. Simple enough. Then you, would it be possible to take one of the people at that time from our planet and place him on Venus? Would he survive? Were conditions much... Again, he needs to stop chewing on things while he's talking, because can't understand him, right? To which Ra says,
The third density conditions are not hospitable to the life forms of your peoples. The fifth and sixth dimensions of that planetary sphere are quite conducive to growing/learning/teaching.
So here's where he says, third density, probably not a good idea. Right? However, fifth and sixth, hey, come on over. Born in sin, come on in. Born in lust, turn to dust. How are you able to make the transition from Venus? And I assume the sixth dimension, which would that be invisible when you reached here? Did you have to change your dimensions to walk on Earth?
It's actually a decent question.
You will remember the exercise of the wind. The dissolution into nothingness is the dissolution into unity, for there is no nothingness. From the sixth dimension, we are capable of manipulating, by thought, the intelligent infinity present in each particle of light or distorted light so that we were able to clothe ourselves in a replica visible in the third density of our mind/body/spirit complexes in the sixth density. We were allowed this experiment by the council which guards this planet.
Guards the planet? What the heckery?
This council is
Oops. Okay? So, nothingness by definition cannot exist. Because it is nothing. Therefore, it is not existing. Right? So, from the sixth dimension, they're capable of manipulating by thought the intelligent infinity present in each particle of light or distorted light so that they're able to close ourselves in a replica visible to the third density of our mind, body, spirit complexes. So basically, they turn themselves into the infinite intelligence, come here and make themselves known again through thought. Where is this council located? Well,
This council is located in the octave, or 8H, dimension of the planet Saturn, taking its place in an area which you understand in third-dimensional terms as the rings.
easy enough. Now, again, this is something that he's not saying I am Ra before.
Yeah.
So it makes you wonder, right? Makes me wonder, anyway. Are there any people such as you find on Earth on any other planets in this solar system?
Do you request space/time present information or space/time continuum information?
Again, not saying he's Ra, right?
Right.
Both. That'd be cool.
Do they exist here now, or do they exist here at any time? Like, what is it?
At one time/space, in what is your past, there was a population of third density beings upon a planet which dwelt within your solar system. There are various names by which this planet has been named. The vibratory sound complex most usually used by your peoples is Maldek. These entities, destroying their planetary sphere, thus were forced to find room for themselves upon this third density, which is the only one in your solar system at their time/space present which was hospitable and capable of offering the lessons necessary to decrease their mind/body/spirit distortions with respect to the law of one.
So, Maldek, huh? Where have we heard that name before?
I heard it from you, but you know.
And he says, how did they come here? Such a little boy.
Right.
They came through the process of harvest and were incarnated through the processes of incarnation from your higher spheres within this density.
Basically, they came from 7th, 8th, 9th, and down. They demoted themselves. And again, keep in mind, all these answers are coming without it saying, I am Ra first. How long ago did this happen in our years?
I am having difficulty communicating with this instrument. We must deepen her state. This occurred approximately 500,000 of your years ago.
In case you didn't catch it the first time. So about 500,000 years ago is when they came, huh? Thanks. Is all of the Earth's population then human population of Earth? Are all of them originally from Maldek?
I am Ra. This is a new line of questioning and deserves a place of its own. The ones who were harvested to your sphere from the sphere known before its dissolution as other names, but to your peoples as Maldek, incarnated, many within your Earth's surface rather than upon it. The population of your planet contains many various groups harvested from other second dimension and cycled third dimension spheres. You are not all one race or background of beginning. The experience you share is unique to this time/space continuum.
So there, he's like, you know what? This new line of questioning deserves its own place. And by the way, I am Ra, motherfucker.
Yeah.
So he's basically saying that, well, not all of the people here came from here, but rather we've been harvested from other second and third sphere or third dimensional spheres and brought here. It's not to say everybody is, but there's a great number of people that have been cycled, if you will.
But the other line, many within the Earth's surface rather than upon it, would indicate that what he said about you're not all one race would indicate that we're not the only intelligent speaking species
Yes.
here.
What? Surely you joust.
Wouldn't that be just? I don't have a lance.
No,
Thank you.
joust. Surely you joust. I think it would be appropriate to discover how the Law of One acts in the transfer of beings to our planet and the action of the harvest.
I am Ra. The law of one states simply that all things are one, that all beings are one. There are certain behaviors and thought forms consonant with the understanding and practice of this law. Those who, finishing a cycle of experience, demonstrate various grades of distortion of that understanding of thought and action will be separated by their own choice into the vibratory distortion most comfortable to their mind/body/spirit complexes. This process is guarded or watched by those nurturing beings who, being very close to the law of one in their distortions, nevertheless have the distortion towards active service. Thus, the illusion is created of light, or more properly but less understandably, light/love. This is in varying degrees of intensity. The spirit complex of each harvested entity moves along the line of light until the light grows too glaring, at which time the entity stops. This entity may have barely reached third density or may be very, very close to the ending of the third density light/love distortion vibratory complex. Nevertheless, those who fall within this octave of intensifying light/love then experience a major cycle during which the opportunities are many for the discovery of the distortions which are inherent in each entity and, therefore, the lessening of these distortions.
Okay. Question? I can see it in your eyes.
No, I'm just thinking.
Okay.
No questions.
So he's basically saying, well, first off, you got to remember, everything is one. That's the law of one. Those who are finishing a cycle of experience demonstrate various grades of distortion or issues of that understanding of thought and action, and will be separated by their own choice into the vibratory distortion most comfortable to their mind-body-spirit complexes. Meaning, if I'm in third density and I'm very comfortable here, I will be cycled back here. Okay? This process is guarded or watched by those nurturing beings who, being very close to the law of one in their distortions, nevertheless have the distortion towards active service. So remember back, what is the law of one? It is the belief that all things are one, all beings, all entities, all consciousness is one, and the helping and aiding of others. Okay?
By helping something else or someone else, you are helping yourself.
Exactly. So again, this is the process is guarded or watched by those nurturing beings of, say, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, etc., who are very close to the law of one in their distortions, nevertheless decide to help others. Thus, the illusion is created of light, or more properly, but less understandably, light/love. This is in varying degrees of intensity. Turn off the lights, turn on the lights, different level of light in the room. Okay.
Kind of like when I walk out the door in the morning, I'm like, "Gee, I'm blind." Oh.
It hurts his ass. What is the length and R years of one of these cycles currently? Now, I want you to pay very close attention to these answers, okay?
One major cycle is approximately 25,000 of your years. There are 3 cycles of this nature during which those who have progressed may be harvested. At the end of 3 major cycles, that is, approximately between 75 and 76,000, 75 to 76,000 of your years, all are harvested regardless of their progress, for during that time the planet itself has moved through the useful part of that dimension and begins to cease being useful for the lower levels of vibration within that density.
Okay, before I discuss this, I want to say this may or may not be raw.
Yeah.
Okay. So according to this, it says one major cycle is approximately 25,000 years. That's 25,000
In case you didn't get
years.
that.
Yeah. And there are 3 cycles of this nurture during which those who have progressed may be harvested. At the end of the 3 major cycles, everybody gets harvested.
Whether you're ready or not.
Yep.
Pretty much.
That doesn't mean that you're going to advance or level up. That could mean, well, look, this was a person. They deserve to be a fucking amoeba. All right. What is the position of this planet with respect to the progression of the cycle at this time?
I am Ra. This sphere is at this time in fourth dimension vibration. Its material is quite confused due to the society memory complexes embedded in its consciousness. It has not made an easy transition to the vibrations which beckon. Therefore, it will be fetched with some inconvenience.
So this is Ra, right?
This is Ra.
This sphere is at this time in the fourth dimension vibration. Yeah. Its material is quite confused due to the society memory complex embedded in its consciousness. People being stupid. It has not made an easy transition to the vibrations, which beckon, again, people, all the ones that are out for the me, and blah, blah, blah. Therefore, it'll be fetched with some inconvenience. What do you think that means?
I think that means that Mother Earth has learned her lesson and is ready to level up, so to speak. And the nimwits on this planet, read us on the surface here, are resisting the transition. It's like we're
but
not...
Specifically, therefore, it will be fetched with some inconvenience.
It's going to be a surgical procedure at
Yeah.
best.
It's,
Exactly. Is this inconvenience imminent within a few years?
Who knows at this rate? Oh.
I am Ra. This inconvenience, or disharmonious vibratory complex, has begun several of your years in the past. It shall continue unabated for a period of approximately 30 of your years.
So keep in mind, this was done in the 80s.
yes.
81. So that would put it at 2011. Wait. Yeah, 2011. Oh, wait. That's when shit started going downhill. Oh, sorry.
After this 30-year period, I'm assuming we will all be fourth dimension or fourth density planet. Is that correct?
I am Ra. This is so.
However,
Pesky little
so he's all hopeful, right? Remember, this is the 80s.
Yes.
Is it possible to eliminate what percentage of the present population will inhabit the fourth density planet?
The harvesting is not yet, thus, estimation is meaningless.
So this is, again, this doesn't say I am Ra, blah, blah, blah. This just says the harvesting is not yet, thus estimation is meaningless. Basically saying, you know what? The harvesting hasn't happened yet, thus estimating the time that you have left is stupid. Does the fact that we are in this transition period now have anything to do with the reason that you have made your information available to the population? See if it's going to load. Oh, stupid thing. Hang on.
I am Ra. We have walked among your people. We remember. We remember sorrow. We have seen much. We have searched for an instrument of the proper parameters of distortion in mind/body/spirit complex and supporting an understanding group of mind/body/spirit complexes to accept this information with minimal distortion and maximal desire to serve for some of your years. The answer, in short, is yes. However, we wished you to know that in our memory we thank you.
Aw.
He's such a softie.
Thank you for being open-minded.
So he's basically saying, hey, you know, we walked among you guys. We remember how shitty your life is. We remember how stupid you guys are.
Uh-huh.
We've seen a lot. We've searched for an instrument of the proper parameters of distortion and mind, body, spirit, and supporting an understanding of group mind, body, spirit complexes to accept this information with minimal brain issues.
We've been looking for somebody who can accept our information without getting brain damage. Oh.
Exactly. In short, yeah. However, we want you to know that in our memory, we thank you for those experiences.
Aw.
The disc-shaped craft we call UFOs some have been said to come possibly from the planet Venus. Would any of these be your craft?
I am Ra. We have used crystals for many purposes. The craft of which you speak have not been used by us in your space/time present memory complex. However, we have used crystals in the bell shape in the past of your illusion.
Catch that? He's basically saying, no, dude, we don't use ships. We use crystals. The craft that you're talking about have been used or have not been used by us in your lifetime anyway.
What kind of crystals?
Big ones. However, we have used crystals in the bell shape in the past of your meaningless existence. So how many years ago in the past did you use the bell-shaped craft to come here?
I want to facepalm at that.
I am Ra. We visited your peoples 18,000 of your years ago and did not land, again, 11,000 years ago.
They didn't land.
They didn't land. Yeah, they locked their doors and fucking kept going. Can you blame them? 18,000 and 11,000 years ago. So what happened 18,000 and 11,000 years ago? Well, around the 18,000 years ago, they're talking about the Sumerian type age, right?
Sounds about right.
Is that right? I could be wrong about that. And then 11,000 years, they're talking about the place in Turkey that was found, I believe. We'll move on. Anyway, they came back. They came here 18,000 years ago. I'm like,
Yeah.
and then 11,000 years ago, they may have actually landed at that point. He doesn't actually say. So the photographs of the bell-shaped craft and reports of contact from Venus exist from less than 30 years ago. Do you have any knowledge of these reports?
I am Ra. We have knowledge of oneness with these forays of your time/space present. We are no longer of Venus. However, there are thought forms created among your peoples from our time of walking among you. The memory and thought forms created therefrom are a part of your society memory complex. This mass consciousness, as you may call it, creates the experience once more for those who request such experience. The present Venus population is no longer sixth density.
So there you go. It's basically saying, we know about this stuff, yeah, but we aren't from there anymore, dude. We moved on. Bigger houses, better people. However, because it's part of the oneness, and as people are waking up and they share that oneness, they are getting the memories from the oneness and experiencing those things.
Is that the whole belief creates?
Exactly. Right?
If
Manifestation.
If enough people believe it, it comes into being. So these UFO sightings are just, hey, I seem to remember that from like 10,000 years ago, even though I don't know what time it was.
1.7 billion years ago, I saw this. Yeah.
And I may have to take a slight break just to pay for food. Oh.
Is it on the way? What the hell?
No, it's not on the way, but I put cash later so I could finagle some stuff, and now I need to pay with a card.
Okay. Do any of the UFOs that are presently reported come from other planets here at this time, or do you have this knowledge?
I am one of the members of the Confederation of Planets in the service of the Infinite Creator. There are approximately 53 civilizations, comprising approximately 500 planetary consciousness complexes in this confederation. This confederation contains those from your own planet who have attained dimensions beyond your third. It contains planetary entities within your solar system, and it contains planetary entities from other galaxies. It is a true confederation in that its members are not alike, but allied in service according to the law of one.
So again, this doesn't start with I am Ra.
It does not.
So, I don't know. There are approximately 53 civilizations comprising approximately 500 planetary consciousness complexes in this confederation. Basically, they're talking about a big group of people and things that hang around and love one another. Sounds like my kind of evening. Do
Reminds
any
me
of
of
them
Star
come
Trek.
here at this time in spacecraft, like in the past, say, 30 years?
I am Ra. We must state that this information is unimportant. If you will understand this, we feel that the information may be acceptably offered. The law of one is what we are here to express. However, we will speak upon this subject. Each planetary entity which wishes to appear within your third-dimensional space/time distortion requests permission to break quarantine, as you may call it, and appear to your peoples. The reason and purpose for this appearance is understood and either accepted or rejected. There have been as many as 15 of the Confederation entities in your skies at any one time, the others available to you through thought. At present there are 7 which are operating with craft in your density. Their purposes are very simple: to allow those entities of your planet to become aware of infinity, which is often best expressed to the uninformed as the mysterious or unknown.
So basically, Ra's getting tired of this crap. He's like, look, dude, we're not here to talk about fucking aliens and shit like that. We're here to talk about the law of one. However, that being said, get it. There are other planetary entities that want to appear to your third-dimensional brain-damaged distortion. Request the permission to break the quarantine
Quarantine.
and appear to your people.
What?
So that's what he's saying. He's saying, like, get this through your thick fucking head. I'm fully aware that you are primarily interested in disseminating the law of one. However, it is my judgment, could be wrong, and that in order to disseminate this material, it will be necessary to include questions such as the one I've just asked for the purpose of creating the widest possible dissemination of this material. If this is not the objective, I could limit my questions only to the application of the law of one, but I understand that at this time it is the objective to widely disseminate this material. Is that correct?
I am Ra. This perception is only slightly distorted in your understand/learning.
You're only kind of stupid, he says.
We wish you to proceed as you deem proper. That is your place. We, in giving this information, find our distortion of understanding of our purpose to be that not only of the offering of information, but the weighting of it according to our distorted perceptions of its relative importance. Thus, you will find our statements, at times, to be those which imply that a question is unimportant. This is due to our perception that the given question is unimportant. Nevertheless, unless the question contains the potential for answer giving which may infringe upon free will, we offer our answers.
Again, Ra is a very kind, generous person, and he's basically saying, look, okay, you're only kind of an idiot. We want you to proceed as you deem proper, and that's your place. In giving you this information, we find our distortion or our understanding of our purpose to do this to be that not only of offering the information, but weighing it of according to our distorted perceptions of its importance. Thus, if we don't think it's important to the overall understanding, we're going to tell you it's not important. To which he says, thank you very much. We do not want to overtire the instrument. It is now considerably over the normal working time. Could you tell me the condition of the instrument?
I need to pay for my order that I placed.
I'm muting you now.
I need to pay for my order.
The instrument is balanced due to your care. However, her physical vehicle is growing stiff.
So is mine, Ra. So is mine. In that case, perhaps we should continue at a later time.
We shall agree. Therefore, unless you have a short question, we will take our leave.
And of course he has a short question. The only question I have is that I must assume since Leonard was here when you first made contact, it'd be as suitable for him to be here as Tom. Is this correct?
This is correct and completes the number of those at this time able to come who are suitable. Again, remember the instructions given for the preparation of the vibratory sound complex, Tom. I am Ra. I leave you in the love and the light of the one infinite Creator. Go forth rejoicing in the power and the peace of the one Creator. Adonai.
And with that, Ra leaves to another place, far, far away. I see you have a peewee.
I do.
So yeah, basically saying that, well, here it's pretty simple. I don't know who Leonard and Tom are, but I think Tom was the person at the end of the last one he was asking about joining them, and now there's this Leonard guy. Anyway, it's basically like, yeah, I don't care. Cool. Wow, and we did that in an hour. That's pretty freaking fantabulous.
Nice.
Awesome.
So, what do you think? Comments, questions, cute remarks, any kind of discussion you want to have?
She's coming back.
I am back. Sorry. I needed to do that before I left the store.
Yeah. So, yeah. Questions, concerns, anything?
Not at the moment. It kind of, again, I read it before we did our first episode, and now, especially having that break in between all the episodes, it's starting to make a lot more sense to me because I've had a chance to digest it and experience more, and I would recommend that for anybody to just go back after letting each episode digest, because it's a lot to take in.
It is. Yeah. But it's good stuff.
That's good stuff.
So we'll probably continue. We'll do some more Law of One, et cetera, et cetera. I still want to do the Constitution one and all that kind of stuff too. I don't know where we're going with next week's, but we will have a show again next week. So with that being said, for myself, our missing person, Michelle, Alex, and Louise, I do want to thank everybody. Do you guys have anything you want to say? Final thoughts?
Not
No?
at the moment.
Okay.
Thanks, guys, for letting me come in.
Of course. Of course.
You're always welcome.
So,
Alex.
I do want to thank everybody for coming and joining us tonight. And I do want you all to tune in next week when we talk about some other topic or additional topic. And thank you for joining. You guys have a great evening.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye. Goodbye.
Have a beautiful